I know I haven't posted in a while because I've been dealing with a disaster. It all started pretty simply with me checking things around the backyard and planning my next project for the garden. I added mulch to the loofah bed as it was one of the few plants enjoying the oppressive Florida heat. And even with just one plant, it was putting out fruit that I could add to meals, much like squash. Along with that, I was watering everything so the soil was still moist. I had some collards near the fence for shade, so there were a few meals there as well. The sweet potato vines were branching out over the string trellis I put up and looked like they had further to spread. Even the peanuts were putting out a few good-sized peanuts above ground to let me know I would probably have a good harvest from those below ground. The pole beans, too, were beginning to come up and were following the schedule I had set for myself to replant everything near the end of August or early September, when the heat, I hope, would level off. The bluebirds were also moving along despite the heat. They'd gone from eggs to hatching to little chicks in no time, and their parents were doing their job, as my brother had predicted, meaning one bluebird can eat up to 2,000 mosquitoes a day, and there were very few of them in my backyard. All of this was happening against a backdrop of constant news reports of higher and higher temperatures. Every day you were warned about the heat and told how to know when you had heat exhaustion. Then I checked the weather, and the next few days were going to be dangerously hot, into the triple digits. With all of that happening, it made sense to follow up on an indoor project I mentioned in an earlier video, making a large bed for the banana trees and taking them out of their container. And I could work in the insulated garage to get the project done. Me and Sunny Girl went to the big box store and got the wood to begin the project early the next morning, before it had a chance to warm up. All seemed right with the world. We woke up the next morning and noticed that it was already hot in the house. That's when I noticed that the thermostat was set for 77, but was showing 80 degrees in the house. The fan outside was running, but no cool air was coming from the vents. I wasn't upset about it because this had happened before, and 80% of the time meant the capacitor had gone bad and needed to be replaced. In the past, I watched a very helpful video on how to do it myself, and my brother had come over and walked me through the process to avoid an expensive AC service call. I always keep extras because the part itself is cheap. It's the labor you pay for. I took a picture of the wire placement and replaced the capacitor. AC came on and then went off and refused to restart. And this was going to be the hottest day of the year. I tried everything. I got out the shop vac and drained the drip valve. I checked the capacitor connections to make sure I had the wiring correct. Nothing worked, and it was beginning to heat up. I had to put together something to keep the house cool until I could make the dreaded AC service call. It was here that I remembered I had a tower air conditioner for the van. I got it a couple of years ago before everything got expensive, and it works well to cool things off at state parks. I noodled around for a while and finally figured out a setup that would allow the tower AC to cool off the middle of the house. It wasn't perfect, but it also wasn't 100 degrees either. And then on to trying to find someone to come out to fix the unit. I soon learned that a lot of other people were in my situation, and no one could come out until Monday. Needless to say, I went through the most uncomfortable 3 days of my life. It wasn't as hot as outside, but it also wasn't as cool either. It was much too hot to work in the garden or even the computer to create a video. All me and Sunny Girl could do was lay on the couch and try to stay cool. I completely understood what the weatherman was talking about when he described heat exhaustion. You find it hard to concentrate, and water seems to leave you a lot faster than you can replace it. And any hope of things cooling off at night was completely dashed, because well into the evenings it was still hot. I was simply miserable. But we made it. Monday rolled around and I learned something. I learned that there are 2 capacitors, one on the compressor outside and one inside the unit on the inside of the house. The little one on the left is the inside one, and from the look of it, it had been there for a while. And to make matters worse, I have an older unit, so there was another part they had to order that would take 2 days to arrive. The part finally arrived, and the technician was gentle with the charges, but I was just glad to end the suffering. So, I haven't been away by choice, more like fighting for my life. See you next time.